Usurping D King's Royal Rants this week to talk about something that's very, very controversial in my opinion. When do you stop? Now, I'm talking about, when I say this, I'm talking about, of course, I'm going to be talking about TV. Now, what I say by this is, recently we have things like, as I was growing up, I saw these things happening. Like, for example, I wasn't part of the MTG generation, but I was there to know what it was and what it was about. Now you look at MTV, I don't see music anymore. I see a bunch of pregnant, whiny, drunk people, and I don't mean in one show, I mean this is a variety of shows. I mean, between the Jersey Shore, Teen Mom, and all these other shows, which are completely crap, and if you watch them, you've got to really take an assessment of your life. Because I have the hardest time trying to understand why somebody would watch something like that. I mean, honestly, the whole thing is just complete. Okay, we are stylizing the worst of our culture. The fact that these people go out and get blistered on a nightly basis. Time to take another drink. Coffee. Go out and get, well, for lack of a better word, not drunk off their asses and fall over each other and throw up in dark alleys, and we sit there and we're like, oh, what's Snooki gonna do this week? What's she gonna do now that she's been arrested? Oh no, we do not stylize these people. That's stupid. That's asinine. That's asinine behavior. And do you know why? It's because as an American, and I know that this is being broadcast in other countries, it makes me feel bad as an American because this is what we're giving to other cultures. This is what they are seeing. We're not sending the fact of, hey, look, this is a nice show about, you know, what we do. No, we're sending them the Jersey Shore and Teen Mom and all these other nasty, horrible shows. What's the point? Honestly, it's depressing, really. Also, it debases me as a person too. But that's getting off the point. I just wanted to throw that out there. My biggest concern, my biggest issue is with why do TV channels take away from their overall? For example, MTV, and this is what I was going on before I rudely interrupted myself. MTV started off as music television, as in you went there and you saw music videos, which was awesome. The occasional game shows with Adam Sandler and Jenny McCarthy, you know, usually it didn't matter because the people who were watching it were at school at this time. My biggest concern was when it stopped being music TV. It was music-based TV. Like, for example, it started getting, you know, the news and everything. Then it was just atrocious. Most people didn't care. They just kind of went with it, you know, with shows like The Real World and stuff. And it slowly became a monster that wasn't what it started off as anymore. And I see other TV channels going that same direction. With Nickelodeon being the first. Because I used to watch whatever happened to the good old-fashioned cartoons like Rocko's Modern Life, Ren and Stimpy, the Rugrats, freaking Doug. I'll even go so far as to say Doug. And I'm talking about Doug the Nickelodeon, not Doug the Disney remake, because that was horrible. But yeah, whatever, Real Monsters. You've got those shows, which I miss. And they've been replaced with the likes of SpongeBob and freaking Tough Puppy. What the hell is Tough Puppy? Anyway, and you see Cartoon Network's now going to the same thing. You've got Cartoon Network taking cartoons away. Like, I remember, like, my favorite show for a long time was Chowder. I watched that show on a daily basis. It was on at 10 o'clock. I set my alarm. If I didn't have to work, I was watching with my kids, and I was watching Chowder. Chowder was a good show. A little off antics, but it harkened back to the good old days of Rocko's Modern Life, Ah, Real Monsters, you know. It was a good show. And now we're supplanting these shows with shows like Destroy, Build, Destroy, Hole in the Wall. All these live action shows. And yes, my chair squeaks. Why would you do such a stupid thing like that? Why supplant cartoons on a cartoon channel for live action shows? This is why I don't drink coffee. It's depressing. And now I see another channel that I like, Sci-Fi. Well, what was the Sci-Fi channel? The Sci-Fi channel is starting to take that same aspect with the likes of WWE putting on wrestling shows. How Sci-Fi is a wrestling show. Adding things like Face Off, which is a good show, mind you. It's okay. I just don't feel that's the right venue for it. Let's see, what else? And let's see. Iffy to a more of a standard base. This is going to go off canter a little bit again. Why would you do a show? Why not try to get the licensing for a show? Why make a remake of a show? Being Human. I watched the first season and a half of Being Human. The British version. The one with Mitchell and George. With Mitchell and George and Annie. I saw that show. That was an awesome show. Now we've got the likes of Being Human with Aiden, with Sally, and Josh. Sure, it's got the kid from Jungle to Jungle. So what? It's a good show, mind you. I'm gonna go out and say that it was a good show. It is a good show. But that makes the difference. What makes it a good show and what doesn't make it a good show? Because we've only seen the first couple of episodes. And it harkens back to its sister show in the UK, but it doesn't do it that well. In the fact that it's, you know, the Americans like to overdraw their origin stories and stuff. Like, the first episode I remember seeing, this is Annie, this is what happened to her. This is Aiden, this is what happened to him. This is George, this is what happened to him. They didn't go back to it, they didn't explain it, they didn't have to go into a long, mushy detail about how things are the way they are because of this. No, they just were in the house, they were living together, that was it. Instead, we get this thing that was, oh, thank you, Taji, for my Drake sector. Yeah. Anyway, it's depressing that you get these shows that go off and just, anyway, let's see, what else? Okay. But I see Sci-Fi going that same direction of taking away time from shows that they should be putting on. Like, why not put in, like, reruns of Farscape or something like that? Something that when I turn on, harkens back to Sci-Fi. I mean, I love my Ghost Hunters. I love my Ghost Hunters International and all that. But when I flip on Sci-Fi at some odd o'clock and I see people throwing themselves off the top rope, doesn't make me think Sci-Fi. Before I drag this on any longer, I think I'm going to cut this rant a little short. So, this is Temper360 usurping a royal rant from Mr. D. King. I'll see you when I'm looking at you.